Welcome to our journey into regression algorithms. At its core, regression is about predicting a continuous value, like house prices or temperature, based on one or more input features. Imagine you have a set of data points, perhaps showing how a company's sales change with its advertising spend. Regression helps us find a mathematical relationship, often represented by a line or curve, that best describes this data. This relationship then allows us to make informed predictions for new unseen data. To build a regression model, we first need to identify our variables. We have an independent variable, often denoted as x, which is the input or feature we use for prediction. And then we have the dependent variable, y, which is the continuous output we want to predict. For instance, if we're predicting exam scores, the hours studied would be x, and the exam score itself would be y. We are essentially trying to understand how changes in x influence y. The most fundamental type of regression is simple linear regression. As the name suggests, it assumes a linear relationship between our independent and dependent variables. This means we try to fit a straight line through our data points. This line acts as our model, capturing the overall trend. Its goal is to summarize the relationship between x and y in the simplest way possible. The straight line we fit to our data can be described by a familiar equation y hat equals mx plus b. Here, y hat represents our predicted output value. M is the slope of the line, telling us how much y changes for every unit change in x. B is the y-intercept, which is the value of y when x is 0. These two parameters, m and b, completely define our regression line. Finding the best m and b is the core task of simple linear regression. Once we have our regression line defined by its slope m and intercept b, we can use it to make predictions. If we have a new input value, x, that wasn't in our original training data, we simply find that x on our horizontal axis. We then trace vertically up to our regression line, and from there, horizontally across to the y-axis. The value we find on the y-axis is our model's prediction, y hat, for that specific input x. This is the power of a trained regression model. While our regression line aims to capture the trend, it won't perfectly pass through every data point. The difference between the actual observed value, y, and our model's predicted value, y hat, is called the error or residual. Visually, this is the vertical distance from each data point to the regression line. Some errors will be positive, meaning the prediction was too low, and some negative, meaning it was too high. Our goal is to find a line that minimizes these errors overall. To find the best fitting line, we need a way to quantify the total error across all our data points. Simply summing the errors won't work, as positive and negative errors would cancel each other out. Instead, we use a cost function like mean squared error, or MSE. For each residual, we square it, which makes all values positive and penalizes larger errors more heavily. We then sum up all these squared errors and divide by the number of data points, n, to get the average. Our goal is to find the line that results in the smallest possible MSE. To better understand how we find the best line, let's visualize the cost function. If we fix one parameter, say the intercept, and vary only the slope m, the mean squared error typically forms a U-shaped curve. This curve shows us that some slopes result in very high errors, while others lead to much lower errors. Our optimal line corresponds to the point on this curve where the mean squared error is at its absolute minimum. This visual helps us see the target we're aiming for. How do we efficiently find this minimum point on our cost function? The answer is an iterative optimization algorithm called gradient descent. Imagine placing a ball randomly on our MSE curve. The gradient at that point tells us the steepest direction to go. Gradient descent works by repeatedly taking small steps in the direction opposite to the gradient, effectively rolling the ball downhill. Each step brings us closer to the lowest point on the curve, which corresponds to the optimal slope and intercept for our regression line. A crucial parameter in gradient descent is the learning rate. This controls the size of each step we take down the cost function curve. A learning rate that is too large can cause us to overshoot the minimum, potentially bouncing back and forth or even diverging completely. Conversely, a learning rate that is too small will make the algorithm very slow, taking many tiny steps to reach the minimum. Finding a balanced learning rate is key to efficient and stable convergence. So far, we've focused on simple linear regression with just one input feature. But what if we have multiple factors influencing our output? This is where multiple linear regression comes in. Instead of just x, we now have x1, x2, and so on, representing different features. Our equation expands to include a separate coefficient, or b value, for each feature. The model still aims to find a linear relationship, but now it's fitting a plane or hyperplane in higher dimensions rather than just a line. Not all relationships in the real world are perfectly linear. Sometimes the data follows a curve. In such cases, simple or multiple linear regression would provide a poor fit. This is where polynomial regression becomes useful. It extends the linear model by adding polynomial terms of the independent variable, like x squared or x cubed. This allows our model to fit curved patterns in the data, capturing more complex, nonlinear relationships while still using a linear combination of these polynomial features. When building models, we face a common challenge, balancing between underfitting and overfitting. An underfit model is too simple. It fails to capture the underlying patterns in the data, leading to high errors on both training and new data. An overfit model, on the other hand, is too complex. It learns the training data too well, even memorizing noise, and performs poorly on new, unseen data. Our goal is to find that sweet spot, a model that generalizes well, capturing the true underlying relationship without being overly simple or overly complex. To combat overfitting, especially in models with many features or high-degree polynomials, we use techniques called regularization. Regularization adds a penalty term to our cost function, discouraging the model from assigning excessively large coefficients to features. L1 regularization, also known as lasso, adds the sum of the absolute values of the coefficients as a penalty. L2 regularization, or ridge, adds the sum of the squared values of the coefficients. Both methods help simplify the model, making it more robust and improving its ability to generalize to new data. After training a regression model, we need to evaluate how well it performs. We've already discussed mean squared error, or MSE, which quantifies the average squared difference between predictions and actual values. Another crucial metric is R squared, or the coefficient of determination. R squared tells us the proportion of the variance in the dependent variable that is predictable from the independent variables. A higher R squared value, closer to 1, indicates a better fit. We also have mean absolute error, or MAE, which is the average absolute difference, and root mean squared error, RMSE, which is the square root of MSE, providing error in the original units of y. We've covered a lot in our introduction to regression algorithms. We started by understanding what regression is and how it helps us find relationships in data. We then explored simple and multiple linear regression and how polynomial regression can capture curved patterns. We learned about the mean squared error cost function and how gradient descent helps us minimize it. Finally, we touched on common challenges like overfitting and solutions like regularization, along with key evaluation metrics. This is just the beginning of your journey into machine learning. Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep building.